Even the off-road reliability king, the 4Runner, needs maintenance. CV boots can break and axle seals can leak. Watch this video to see how I fixed both on the front end of my 4th gen 4Runner. It goes without saying, but chalk your rear wheels and use jack stands. Pull the wheels off and remove the hubcaps if you have them. My driver's side hubcap likes to get stuck, so I use the ask no questions method to remove it. To remove the axle grease cap, use an old flathead or preferably a small chisel and slowly tap around the edges of the cap. It may not move much at first, but keep working at it and it'll move. Careful not to damage or bend the cap. I prefer to use wire cutters to pull the cotter pin out of the castle nut because they grab the pin better than with pliers. I recommend you use new cotter pins, but you can reuse the old ones if they seem to be in good shape. This might be a special purchase, but grab a 35mm socket to remove the axle nut. I'll put a link in the description if you need to get one. Remove the 2 bolts holding the caliper on and the 1 bolt holding the brake line bracket to the spindle. Then hang the caliper up out of the way with a wire or hook to ensure that you don't put any tension on the brake line while you're working. I give the hub a little wiggle to check for any excess play in the wheel bearing. These are sealed bearings and I replaced them 5 years ago, so I expected them to still be good. After you like and subscribe, separate the lower control arm from the spindle. I supported the control arm with a jack to make sure it didn't unexpectedly spring away. For the driver's side, turn the steering wheel hard right, then with a rubber mallet and some creative wiggling, pull the CV axle out of the spindle. On this side, I did bend the dust shield a little in the process, but it was easy to bend back by hand. On the passenger side, I used a ratchet strap to help pull the spindle out of the way. Remove the engine splash shield to gain access to the other end of the CV. On the driver's side, I used a pry bar to pull the CV out of the differential. On the passenger side, I used a large chisel and a hammer, and that came out much easier than with a pry bar. If you are not replacing the seals in differential gear oil, you can skip this part of the video. However, this would be a good time to do those seals and fluid. I'll post a link in the description to the seals and the seal puller. If you are replacing the gear oil, be sure to crack the fill plug before draining the fluid. Some people find that their fill plug is stuck and needs to be extracted. You don't want to be stuck with an empty diff and no bolt extraction tools. If you do need the extraction tools though, link below. As the diff fluid drains, I use a seal puller to remove the axle seal. These are inexpensive tools that make the seal removal very easy. Careful not to scratch the differential housing with the tool. That could cause a potential leakage even after installing the new seal. I used my bearing, race, and seal driver kit to properly press the new seals in. You can also use a 2-inch PVC coupler. Access to the seal with the driver kit is difficult, so I ended up using a short piece of 2x1 lumber to extend the driver and give better hammer clearance. I did what my daughter calls a no-no and pressed the seal in crooked. With careful adjustment, I was able to straighten the seal out and make it perfectly flush with the housing. My honesty here might earn me a like and subscribe from you. Now over to the spindle axle seal. Upon close inspection, I noticed there was missing rubber on the seal, so I decided to replace those as well. This process is easier with the spindles removed from the vehicle, but I was able to do it with the spindles still in place. The seal is easy to remove using a hammer and a small punch or chisel. The grease looked old, so I scooped it all out and refilled with new grease. It's important to clean the area well so you don't mix greases. Installing the new seal is where it would be much easier if the spindle were laying on a bench. I don't have a seal driver large enough for this, so I used a block of wood and a punch to install the new seal as carefully and evenly as possible. Careful not to damage the rubber on the new seal. Always compare the new parts to the old ones so you always know you have the right part. I use a very small amount of grease to help hold the C-clip centered on the end of the CV axle for installation. This is important so you don't roll the clip off or damage it as you hammer the axle in. Also, make sure it's a very small amount of grease. You don't want excess grease mixing with your gear oil. Put an axle nut on the end of the new CV axle to protect the threads while hammering the new axle into the differential. Then again, with creative wiggling, slide the end of the axle into the wheel hub. Careful not to damage the new seal. Thread on the axle nut, but torque the lower control arm and caliper before torquing the axle nut. I took the opportunity while the caliper was off to add a small amount of silicone grease to the back of the brake pads to help prevent brake squeal, which is advice worthy of hitting the like and subscribe buttons. Be sure to look up official torque spec for every bolt you tighten. Stick a screwdriver in the side of the rotor so it'll press against the caliper for torquing the axle nut. The torque spec I found for the axle nut was 173 pound-feet. My torque wrench only goes up to 150, so I torqued it to that, then gave a little more with my breaker bar. Then installed the cotter pin. After cleaning the axle cap seal surface, I like to add a thin layer of gasket maker to the axle grease cap to increase resistance to dust and water. Then tap it back on with a mallet. The passenger side took me just under 2 hours to complete. The driver's side took longer, but that's because of the added time for detailed filming. So if you're feeling generous, hit that thanks button to help support the channel and my dream of doing this full time. The last step of the process is to refill the differential fluid, which isn't exactly fun. There's not enough room to get the gear oil bottle up to refill the diff, so I used a hose out of the siphon kit to channel the fluid as I squeezed the bottle from outside the wheel well into the differential. This would have been easier with a slightly larger hose to help the gear oil flow a little faster. This part alone took me over 20 minutes. Once the differential is full, replace the fill plug and you're all done. Remember to retorque the bolts after a few hundred miles. Please like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions at all. Thank you all so much for watching. See you on the next one.